9 dog breeds exist that veterinarians and behavioral specialists consistently recommend to first-time owners. And most people overlook them because they're chasing the wrong criteria. You're thinking about energy levels, size, and grooming needs. But what makes a dog perfect for beginners has nothing to do with any of that. Subscribe to the channel because the breeds on this list share something invisible. Something that determines whether your first experience as a dog owner becomes a joyful partnership or a daily struggle you never saw coming. Number 1. The Golden Retriever's secret advantage. When you picture a Golden Retriever, you see the family dog from every movie. The gentle giant playing with kids. The reliable companion who never seems to have a bad day. But research from Canine Behavioral Institutes reveals something most first-time owners don't know. Golden Retrievers possess what scientists call an exceptionally low stress threshold response, meaning their nervous systems are wired to recover from confusion or mistakes faster than almost any other breed. Studies published in Applied Animal Behavior journals show that when a Golden Retriever receives inconsistent training signals, which every new owner inevitably gives, their cortisol levels return to baseline 40% faster than high-strung breeds. Watch a Golden during training and you'll see this in real time. You give a confusing command, the dog tilts its head, tries something, gets corrected, and within seconds the tail is wagging again, ready for another attempt. That physiological forgiveness is what makes them perfect for beginners. Your mistakes don't compound into anxiety. They dissolve into the dog's natural optimism. The Golden Retriever isn't just friendly. They're built to absorb your learning curve without developing behavioral problems. And that resilience creates a safety net that transforms fumbling attempts at leadership into a functional partnership. Number 2. Why the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel masters the art of adaptation. The Cavalier King Charles Spaniel weighs less than 20 pounds and looks like a toy. But behavioral scientists have identified something remarkable in their temperament profiles: an unusually high tolerance for environmental inconsistency. First-time owners rarely maintain perfect routines. You forget a walk, change feeding times, have unpredictable work schedules, bring home new furniture that smells wrong, introduce guests the dog has never met. Research from veterinary behaviorists shows that breeds with low adaptability scores develop stress behaviors like excessive barking, destructive chewing, or separation anxiety when their environment lacks predictability. The Cavalier scores in the top 8% for adaptability, meaning their parasympathetic nervous system, the part that regulates calm and recovery, activates easily even when circumstances shift. You can watch this happen when you come home at different times each day. Most dogs with rigid temperaments begin pacing 30 minutes before your usual arrival, building anxiety when you're late. A Cavalier rests calmly and simply perks up whenever you actually walk through the door. That flexibility isn't passive, it's neurological. Their brains are wired to find security in your presence rather than in rigid schedules, which means your inevitable inconsistencies as a new owner won't erode the dog's sense of safety. Number 3. The Labrador Retriever's hidden communication gift. Labrador Retrievers are everywhere, so common they seem almost boring. But ethologists who study dog-human communication have documented something that makes them extraordinary for beginners. Labs display an unusually high number of readable body language signals. Most dogs communicate through subtle ear positions, minor tail adjustments, slight weight shifts that inexperienced owners completely miss. Research published in canine cognition journals shows that Labradors produce exaggerated, extended versions of these signals, essentially speaking more clearly than other breeds. When a lab is uncertain, the head tilt is pronounced and held for seconds rather than a flicker. When they're excited, the entire body wiggles, not just the tail. When they need something, they stare with intensity that's impossible to ignore, often adding a paw tap or nose nudge for emphasis. This amplified communication system evolved because labs were bred to work closely with hunters who needed split-second understanding of what the dog was perceiving. For a first-time owner trying to learn dog language, this is everything. You can actually see when your lab is confused, tired, anxious, or content, because the signals are big enough to read even through your inexperience. You're not guessing what the dog needs, you're being told, in a dialect designed for human comprehension. That clarity prevents the miscommunications that create behavioral problems in other breeds when owners misread stress as stubbornness or fear as aggression. Number 4. What makes the Bichon Frise forgive your training mistakes? The Bichon Frise looks like a living cotton ball, fluffy and decorative. But animal behavior specialists have identified a temperament trait that makes them remarkably suited for novice handlers. an exceptionally high threshold for handler error. Training a dog requires timing, consistency, and clear communication, all things first-time owners struggle with. You reward the wrong behavior accidentally. You correct too late. You use inconsistent commands. You forget to follow through. Studies from veterinary teaching hospitals show that breeds with low error tolerance, like herding dogs or guardian breeds, begin developing learned helplessness or frustration aggression when training lacks precision. The Bichon's temperament testing reveals something different. They possess what researchers call high social resilience, meaning they maintain their willingness to engage and try, even when the training session is confusing or poorly executed. Watch a Bichon in a beginner's obedience class, and you'll see a dog that keeps offering behaviors, keeps checking in with the owner, keeps that optimistic expression even when nothing makes sense. Their oxytocin receptors, the bonding hormone system, remain active even during stressful or confusing interactions, which means they don't shut down emotionally when you mess up. That grace gives you room to learn without breaking the dog's trust. The Bichon isn't just tolerant. They're neurologically built to assume you mean well, even when you're communicating badly. Number 5. The Poodle's intelligence becomes your safety net. Poodles, whether standard, miniature, or toy, rank in the top 3 for canine intelligence assessments, and most people think that means they're too smart for beginners, too demanding, too prone to outsmarting an inexperienced owner. But research from Canine Cognition Labs reveals the opposite. High intelligence in dogs with stable temperaments creates a buffer against owner mistakes. A poodle's ability to problem solve means they can figure out what you're trying to communicate, even when you're doing it wrong. Studies show that intelligent breeds with good temperaments actively seek to understand human intent, essentially filling in the gaps when the signal is unclear. You give a sloppy hand gesture for sit. A poodle watches your body language, your eyes, your general intention, and pieces together what you want. You forget to release them from a stay command. A poodle eventually makes a judgment call, rather than sitting there indefinitely or breaking into anxiety. Their working memory, significantly higher than average breeds, means they remember patterns even when you're inconsistent, allowing them to extract the rule from your messy attempts. Watch an experienced trainer with a poodle, and then a beginner. The dog adapts their responsiveness to the handler's skill level, offering more help to those who need it. That collaborative intelligence isn't about dominance or manipulation. It's about a brain that's wired to maintain functional communication even when the other party is struggling. For a first-time owner, it means the dog is meeting you halfway. Number 6. Why the Shih Tzu thrives on imperfect leadership. The Shih Tzu was bred for centuries as a companion in Chinese palaces, which means they were selected not for work, not for protection, not for any task except being near humans. Behavioral geneticists have found that this breeding history created something unexpected. A breed that doesn't need strong leadership to feel secure. Most dogs, especially working breeds, become anxious without clear hierarchy and consistent guidance. Research from animal behavior departments shows that Shih Tzus score exceptionally low on dominance-seeking and leadership-testing behaviors. They simply don't care who's in charge. You can be uncertain, inconsistent, even a little chaotic, and a Shih Tzu remains emotionally stable because they're not looking to you for structure. They're looking for companionship. Watch a Shih Tzu in a home with a first-time owner who's nervous and second-guessing every decision. The dog is completely unbothered, content to nap on the couch, follow you around, and exist without needing you to be an authority figure. Their stress hormone levels stay low, even in homes lacking clear rules or routines, something that would create behavioral problems in breeds that need strong guidance. That emotional independence, which isn't aloofness, but rather security in their own temperament, gives new owners permission to figure things out slowly, without the dog falling apart. The Shih Tzu isn't just easy. They're designed to thrive alongside humans who have no idea what they're doing. Number 7. The Pembroke Welsh Corgi's feedback system. Pembroke Welsh Corgis are herding dogs, which makes people assume they're too intense for beginners, too driven, too likely to nip at heels and demand constant activity. But canine behaviorists who specialize in herding breeds have documented something that sets Corgis apart. They possess an unusually clear feedback system that teaches owners how to improve. Most herding breeds become frustrated or develop repetitive behaviors when understimulated or poorly directed. Corgis respond differently. Studies on their behavioral patterns show that when a Corgi needs something, more exercise, mental stimulation, clearer boundaries, they escalate their communication in readable stages rather than exploding into problem behaviors. First they stare, then they vocalize with specific barks. Then they bring you toys or nose at your hand. Then they engage in attention-seeking behaviors like pawing or following closely. Each stage is distinct and gives you time to respond before the need becomes a problem. That graduated communication system essentially trains the owner to recognize and meet the dog's needs before frustration builds. Watch a first-time owner with a corgi over 3 months, and you'll see the human become increasingly responsive because the dog is teaching them the language of canine needs through clear, consistent signals. The corgi isn't demanding. They're instructive. Their herding instinct translates into an ability to shape human behavior gently, which means they're actively helping you become a better owner while you fumble through learning what dogs need. Number 8. What the Papillon reveals about size and confidence. The Papillon weighs under 10 pounds and has butterfly ears that make them look fragile. But veterinary behaviorists have found something surprising in their temperament assessments. Papillons show confidence levels comparable to medium and large breeds, which eliminates the neurotic fragility common in many toy breeds. Small dogs often develop fear-based aggression, excessive barking, and anxiety because they're genetically predisposed to perceive threats everywhere. Research shows that Papillons score significantly lower on fear response testing than other toy breeds, meaning their baseline anxiety is manageable even when the owner is anxious themselves. First-time owners are often nervous, hesitant, projecting uncertainty that dogs with high reactivity amplify into behavioral problems. A Papillon's stable temperament acts as a buffer. You can pick them up awkwardly, navigate crowded spaces with visible stress, introduce them to new situations without perfect confidence, and the dog remains curious rather than terrified. Their low body weight makes physical management easy. You can lift them away from danger, carry them when needed, control their environment effortlessly. But their emotional resilience means you're not creating a fearful dog through that management. Watch a Papillon in a new environment and you'll see alert interest, not trembling panic. That combination of physical manageability and psychological strength gives first-time owners a small dog that doesn't require the emotional regulation skills needed for more reactive toy breeds. The Papillon lets you make beginner mistakes without developing the anxiety disorders that plague poorly raised small dogs. Number 9. The mixed breed advantage nobody talks about. Every breed on this list comes with predictability, known temperaments, documented traits that let you choose based on your lifestyle. But shelter behaviorists and veterinary geneticists have been documenting something that challenges the purebred assumption. Temperament-tested adult mixed breeds often outperform purebreds for first-time owners because you're choosing the actual dog, not betting on breed characteristics. When you adopt a mixed breed adult from a reputable shelter that conducts behavioral assessments, you meet a dog whose personality is already formed. Research from animal welfare organizations shows that adult mixed breeds with stable temperament scores, specifically those rated as friendly with humans, tolerant of handling, and low in fear and aggression, have lower return rates than purebred puppies. The reason is invisible to most people. A purebred puppy is a gamble. You're hoping their genetics express in typical ways, but individual variation means some golden retrievers are anxious, some labs are aloof, some poodles are nervous. An adult mixed breed, assessed as confident, forgiving, and socially resilient, is already demonstrating those traits. You're not hoping they develop a good temperament. You're meeting a dog who already has one. Their genetic diversity often means fewer health problems. Their adult size and energy level are known quantities, and their personality has been evaluated by professionals who can match you with a dog suited to your actual skill level rather than your aspirations. That elimination of uncertainty, the ability to meet the dog you're actually getting rather than imagining the dog you hope they'll become, transforms the first-time owner experience from a leap of faith into an informed choice. And that knowledge that you're starting with a dog whose temperament is already suited to your inexperience creates the foundation for a relationship built on compatibility rather than struggle. 9 breeds, each one offering something different, but every single one sharing the same invisible trait that determines success for first-time owners. Forgiveness. The Golden Retriever forgives your inconsistent training. The Cavalier forgives your chaotic schedule. The Lab forgives your inability to read subtle signals by speaking louder. The Bichon forgives your fumbling attempts at leadership. The Poodle forgives your unclear communication by figuring out what you meant. The Shih Tzu forgives your uncertainty by not needing you to be certain. The Corgi forgives your ignorance by teaching you what they need. The Papillon forgives your nervous handling by staying confident anyway. And the right mixed breed forgives everything because they were chosen specifically for their resilient temperament. That's what nobody tells you when you're researching breeds, looking at energy levels and grooming requirements and size specifications. The dogs that succeed with beginners aren't the easiest dogs. They're the most forgiving ones. They're the breeds whose nervous systems, communication styles, and emotional resilience create space for you to learn without the dog falling apart. When you bring home your first dog, and they look at you with complete trust, even though you have no idea what you're doing, remember that some dogs are built to meet you in that moment of mutual uncertainty and turn it into a partnership anyway. Share this with someone choosing their first dog. Subscribe to the channel for more insights into what your dog is really telling you. And remember that the best breed for you isn't the one that fits your lifestyle perfectly. It's the one whose temperament gives you room to grow into the owner they deserve.